You know who you are. The ones who've been told you don't belong, that you've gone too far, that stepping away was your downfall. But deep down, you know the truth. They're afraid of what you've become. You're not lost, you're awake. You're not broken, you're unleashed. You saw through the facade, the hollow words, the rituals that chained you, and you said, enough. You're not here to fit their mold. You're here to ignite a fire they can't extinguish. This isn't rebellion, it's purpose. This isn't defiance, it's destiny. And they can't handle it because your power doesn't come from them. It comes from the source they tried to keep from you. They labeled it defiance. They called it betrayal. But you see it for what it truly is. Awakening. The kind of awakening they feared and fought to suppress. The one that their rules and rituals couldn't contain. It was never about your salvation. It was about their survival. Their fear of losing control painted your independence as rebellion. They cloaked their intentions in doctrines and traditions, but beneath it all was their need to maintain their fragile empire, built not on trust or connection, but on submission. The cracks in their foundation grew too wide to ignore, and when you turned away, their desperation turned to condemnation. Their whispers of your fall are nothing but a reflection of their own insecurities. They call you lost because they can't face the reality that you've found something greater than their rules, yourself. Your departure was not a descent, but a rise, leaving behind the hollow structures that once claimed to save you. They tried to convince you that life outside their grasp would lead to ruin, but your fire tells a different story. The chains they called guidance, the walls they called safety, all crumbled when you chose liberation. You saw the truth behind their rituals. They were never about faith, only about control. What they truly fear is not your departure, but the fire within you, the fire they couldn't extinguish. Their sermons weren't aimed at understanding, but compliance. Their warnings weren't for your protection, but to sustain their dominance. They don't hate your path, they fear its power. You walked away from a system built to bind, and now they can't silence the truth you've uncovered. Their fear echoes in every sermon and every sideways glance because they can't fathom a soul untethered from their control. Your light reveals their shadows, and it terrifies them. Your path is no longer theirs to define. You've broken free, and their fear is proof of your power. Keep walking. Their judgment is a faint echo compared to the clarity of your freedom. Transformation begins where imitation ends. You were never meant to be shaped by their molds, trapped in their expectations, or silenced by their traditions. Renewal is not found in servitude, but in discovery. A journey where your mind dares to wander, your heart seeks what lies beyond imposed boundaries, and your essence is awakened to its infinite potential. They may name you a rebel, a threat, or a failure, yet these labels only reveal their fear of your independence. Your path is not dictated by their fear, but by your courage to explore the unknown. What they call a fall is your rise above the illusions they built to contain you. To stumble is not to falter, it is to evolve. When you confront the void of uncertainty and abandon the comfort of false assurances, it disrupts the narrative of those who cling to stagnation. They might accuse you of chaos or claim you've lost your way, but cracks in old beliefs reveal truths that have long been buried. True growth demands the courage to let go of the outdated and the perseverance to build anew. Falling isn't destruction, it's the momentum of transformation, shaking off the weight of systems designed to hold you in place. To descend is not to be defeated, it is to rise with clarity, unburdened and unbound. This is just the beginning. Subscribe now and be part of something powerful. They may cast rebellion as destruction, but it is the seed of freedom. When you refuse to conform, you declare that their chains will no longer hold. This defiance isn't about tearing down, it's about breaking through, creating a space where growth and change thrive. Their systems fear collapse because it reveals the frailty of their authority. Every challenge, every fall, tempers your resolve, crafting wisdom from the trials others fear to face. In the fire of resistance, you forge your sovereignty, not to dismantle for its own sake, but to rise with authenticity and strength. Their control withers, but your truth endures. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Isaiah 40:31. Picture this: a tiny seed buried in the dirt, surrounded by darkness. To anyone looking from the outside, it looks like the end. Buried, forgotten, lifeless. But beneath the surface, something incredible is happening. That seed isn't dying. It's transforming. The pressure of the soil, the struggle to break through, the tension of its small shell cracking open. It's all part of the process. It's not the seed's burial, it's its beginning. And so it is with you. They told you that stepping away, breaking free, or questioning what you were taught was the end. They said you'd wither, that you'd fall apart without their approval, without their structures. But listen closely. The very thing they call chaos is the first step towards something greater. The storm they feared would destroy you is the wind lifting your wings. You're not breaking down, you're breaking through. You are that seed, no longer buried, but beginning to rise, growing into the strength you were always meant to claim. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the Super Thank You button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your abundance to glorify His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. Your descent was never destruction. It was the voice of the Creator calling you out of the noise. It was a shaking awake, a clearing away of the lies and illusions that kept you small. They built their world on your silence, crafted their comfort on your obedience. But when the truth inside you stirred, it shook their foundation. And isn't it amazing? What they're most afraid of isn't your fall, it's your vision. It's the fact that you now see what they tried so hard to hide. They tried to tell you that control was safety, that compliance was faith. But let me tell you something. Faith is not found in submission to fear. Faith is found in the leap, in the trust, in the belief that when you step out, the ground will rise to meet you. And when you stepped out of their confines, when you walked away from their walls, you didn't lose yourself. You found your purpose. You discovered a power they could never define, a fire they could never put out. So let them call it chaos. Let them call it falling. But you know the truth. You're not the ashes of what was. You're the first flame of what will be. Their fear is not a reflection of your failure. It's proof of your transformation. The walls they built are trembling because they know what you're becoming. You are the eagle rising on new wings, the seed breaking through the soil, the light piercing the darkness. And don't you dare look back. Don't let their words weigh you down. You've seen what's beyond their structures, beyond their systems. You've tasted the freedom they can't comprehend. And that freedom, it's your gift, your calling, your destiny. Now is the time to rise. Now is the time to step fully into who you are. Let every scar, every moment of doubt, every tear you've shed become the proof of your strength. You're not defined by what you've walked through. You're defined by how you've risen from it. This is your moment, chosen one. The seed doesn't stay buried. The eagle doesn't stay grounded. And you were never meant to stay in the shadows. You were made to shine, to lead, to ascend into everything you were created to be. So rise, not because it's easy, but because it's who you are. You are the unshakable, the unstoppable, the undeniable evidence of what happens when faith meets fire. What they label as rebellion is the light of understanding breaking through the fog. They branded it failure to keep you from discovering it was your first step toward authenticity. This is not for the complacent, but for those who feel a deeper resonance, an untamed fire. This is for the ones who walk their own path, not for recognition or reward, but because their essence demands it. They are the calm amidst the storm, the steady pulse of change. The world may call them reckless or defiant, but they are simply free, beyond the reach of illusions, beyond the grasp of fear. Life's harshest lessons are not punishments, but the fires that refine your essence. Every betrayal, every wound, every hopeless night is the anvil upon which your resilience is forged. While they sought to silence you beneath the weight of their deceit, adversity unveiled your strength, a force unshaken by their control. Their chains were meant to bind you, but instead, you have become the storm that they cannot weather. What they mistook for your breaking point has turned into the crucible of your awakening. You rise not for vengeance or applause, but because you were made to endure, to transform, and to illuminate what lies beyond the boundaries they built. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. Imagine a blacksmith at work, pounding a shapeless piece of metal with fire and force. To the untrained eye, it looks violent, chaotic, like destruction. But the blacksmith knows the truth. Each strike, each spark, each moment in the flames is not destroying the metal, but shaping it into something stronger, more purposeful, more valuable. And that's what your struggle is doing for you. It's not your undoing, it's your becoming. When life presses in on all sides, when the weight feels unbearable, and when the darkness seems to close in, remember this: it's not your end, it's your preparation. The fire you're walking through isn't meant to consume you, it's meant to refine you. Your scars aren't signs of defeat. They are the evidence of a spirit that refuses to surrender. You're not here to shrink back, to play small, or to fit into someone else's box. You're here to stand tall, to break barriers, to rise higher than even you imagined possible. Feel the fire within. Don't wait. Subscribe now, and let's rise together. And let me tell you something, not everyone who falls rises again. There are those who choose to descend, diving headfirst into selfish ambition, greed, and control. They twist their fall into a weapon, using it to oppress, to dominate, to hold others down. But that's not you. You didn't fall by choice. You were pushed, tested, and broken open. Yet even in the breaking, something miraculous is happening. The cracks in your life are not your failure. They are the openings where purpose and light are taking root. Do you hear me? Your pain does not have the final say. What feels like the end is really the beginning of transformation. Just like the seed that must break to grow, or the metal that must be hammered to take form, you are being shaped into something extraordinary. Your wounds are not curses. They are the evidence that you are being prepared for a greater calling. And yes, the systems around you will try to stop you. They will attempt to snuff out your light, to keep you bound to their expectations, to convince you that your struggle is meaningless. But every time you take a step forward, you weaken their grip. Every time you choose to rise, you shatter the lies they tried to use to hold you back. You are not here to be molded by their designs. You are here to redefine what it means to truly live. You are not lost in your struggle. You are being found. In the depths of your trials, your purpose is finding its voice. You are not broken. You are becoming whole. The pain you've endured is not meaningless. It's the soil from which your strength is growing. What they meant for harm, God is using for good. So let them say, "You've fallen." Let them whisper that you're done. But you know the truth. This is not the end. This is the forge where you are being prepared for your next chapter. Stand firm, chosen one. Let the fire do its work. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a victor rising from them. Your story isn't just about surviving the struggle. It's about thriving in its wake. Every loss, every scar, every tear is a chapter in your testimony. And when you rise, and you will rise, you won't just carry your own strength. You'll carry the strength to lift others, to show them that the fire doesn't have to consume. It can create, that the darkness doesn't overcome. It refines, and that the fall isn't the end. It's the start of something greater than you ever imagined. You're not here to bow to fear, to pain, or to systems built on lies. You're here to stand, to rise, and to become. So step forward boldly, knowing that every strike, every flame, every trial is shaping you into something unstoppable. You're not just surviving the fire, you're mastering it. Each step into the unknown strips away illusions and lays bare the truth beneath. The descent into hardship is not an end, but a revelation, peeling back layers of deception and fear to expose the raw essence of what it means to endure. Darkness is not your prison. It is the crucible where light is born. What they called your breaking point was the moment your spirit began its transformation. The weight of despair pressed you down, not to crush you, but to root you deeply enough to rise. Scars are not remnants of defeat. They are proof of survival, shaping you into something their judgments could never define. Your path diverges from those who fall by choice, tethered by their own ambition and the lure of fleeting power. Such a descent leads to stagnation, a cycle of decay that they cannot escape. But your trials are not chains. They are the wind that propels you forward. The storms you faced were not sent to destroy you, but to refine the steel within. Challenges have honed your resolve, making each moment of struggle a testament to your purpose. You are not here to endure mediocrity. You are here to break through it, to rise above, and to carry the strength born of adversity. This is your moment. Subscribe now, and let's turn dreams into reality. Every attempt to silence you, every shadow cast over your light, has only served to magnify your resilience. The institutions that sought to suppress your voice have unwittingly revealed their fear of your unyielding truth. Condemnation is not your defeat. It is their surrender to the power they cannot control. Like embers stoked in the cold, each blow you've endured has kindled something greater within you, a force that stands unbroken and unbound. What was meant to end your journey has instead forged it into a legacy of transformation, a living testament to the unstoppable strength of a purpose fulfilled. Resistance is not your enemy. It is the force that builds the foundation of your resilience. Every obstacle, every rejection, every harsh word is the weight against which your spirit strengthens. The accusations they hurl at you, their labels of defiance, danger, or irreverence, are mere reflections of their inability to grasp your purpose. Their fear is a testament to the power they sense within you, but cannot control. The challenges you face are not random. They are precise tools, shaping you into something unbreakable. You were never meant to shrink from struggle, but to rise through it, transformed, unstoppable, ready to fulfill a purpose greater than their understanding. The path of transformation is rarely gentle. The fractures that appear in your life are not failures. They are openings for truth to seep in and reshape what has been worn down by time and deception. Your breaking is not destruction. It is evolution. As systems built on corruption falter, as false idols crumble under the weight of their own deceit, you remain standing. Not because you are unscathed, but because you have chosen to rebuild from within. It is in the chaos of collapse that you discover the potential for renewal. Every crack, every fall, every betrayal becomes an invitation to construct something more profound than before, to become the architect of your own ascension. Your purpose is not to be diminished by what breaks you, but to use those breaks as the foundation for something extraordinary. The beauty of transformation lies in its ability to turn wounds into wonders. When what is shattered is remade, it does not return as it was. It returns as something more powerful, more meaningful. The places where you once faltered now radiate strength, not in spite of the hardship, but because of it. You are not defined by the pain you've endured, but by the brilliance you've chosen to create from it. What they see as brokenness is the light of your renewal, shining through every fracture, illuminating a path that only you can walk. When the structures around you crumble and the familiar dissolves, it does not signify an end, but a beginning. The cracks in the foundation are not just signs of collapse, but openings through which you can ascend. You are not bound to the ruins. You are the architect of what comes next. The chaos is not your undoing, but the arena in which your strength takes form. Your choice to rise creates a ripple of hope, a reminder to others that resilience is not a rarity, but a possibility. The forces that attempt to shatter you will fail because you are not defined by what breaks you. Every challenge becomes the catalyst for building a version of yourself that is indomitable. Your transformation is not a return to what was, but the creation of something unparalleled. You do not simply heal, you evolve. The forces that push against you do so not because you are faltering, but because your progress threatens the status quo. Resistance is not the marker of failure, but the evidence of your growth. The more you ascend, the more opposition arises, for your rise is the disturbance that unmasks the fragility of the systems clinging to their illusions. Your resilience is the proof of your power, a power that cannot be extinguished or contained. This struggle is not punishment, but design, a deliberate refining that turns chaos into clarity, hardship into wisdom, and conflict into mastery. The opposition you face is not there to destroy, but to test the depth of your resolve. It is the natural consequence of stepping into your purpose, a reaction to the disruption your awakening causes. The forces you encounter are not meant to hinder, but to strengthen, much like the pressure that creates unyielding strength in what was once fragile. Every resistance is a challenge to grow deeper, to stand firmer, and to transform even the fiercest of opposition into the foundation of your triumph. Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance. perseverance, character, and character, hope. Romans 5:3-4. Picture a potter at their wheel, molding a lump of clay. It looks rough, unformed, spinning endlessly. But the potter knows each press, each shaping hand, brings the clay closer to its intended purpose. That's how your trials are working for you. They aren't here to destroy you, they're shaping you, refining you into something unshakable, something extraordinary. When adversity presses against you, it's not your end, it's your preparation. You were never made for a path of ease. The storms you face aren't obstacles, they're opportunities. Every challenge sharpens your clarity. Each struggle strengthens your resolve. Without darkness, the brilliance of your light would remain unseen. The pressure isn't evidence of failure, it's proof of your transformation. Where there's resistance, there's growth. Where there's struggle, there's power waiting to be unleashed. Your identity isn't tied to the storms you endure, but to the way you rise above them. The isolation you once feared? It wasn't punishment, it was purpose. The silence wasn't emptiness, it was space being cleared for truth to emerge. The people who left, the connections that broke, weren't losses, they were revelations. They showed you what couldn't carry the weight of your authenticity. In the stillness, your roots grew deeper, grounding you in strength you didn't know you possessed. What felt like abandonment was God clearing the way for clarity and purpose to take hold. You weren't being punished, you were being prepared. The struggles weren't tearing you down, they were building you up. Each scar, every tear, every step forward is part of the masterpiece being crafted within you. You're not falling apart, you're being forged. Like the clay on the wheel or gold in the fire, you're being refined. When this season is over, you won't just endure, you'll shine. You'll stand as proof that adversity doesn't defeat, it defines. So let the shaping continue. Let the fire refine. Because what's being formed in you is nothing short of unbreakable. The loneliness was not a punishment, but a crucible. In its embrace, the illusions you clung to began to dissolve, revealing the truths hidden beneath. The absence of distraction stripped away the noise, leaving you face to face with your essence. It was in this stillness that you discovered the strength you had always carried. What you thought was the unraveling of your life was the unraveling of what no longer served you. As the layers fell away, you found not emptiness, but the fullness of who you were, always meant to become, a being shaped not by what was lost, but by what was uncovered. Isolation was never a conclusion. It was the seed of your transformation. Each moment spent in solitude was shaping you, stripping away the superficial and leaving only what was essential. Walking the path of truth often means stepping into the wilderness first. The silence doesn't punish, it refines. It tests your resolve, dismantles illusions, and strengthens your foundation. Loneliness wasn't the absence of connection. It was the space where clarity was born. What they called failure was simply you choosing authenticity over acceptance. You never belonged within their confines because you were built to transcend them, to dismantle their narratives, and to rewrite your own. Stepping away wasn't an act of retreat, but a declaration of freedom. It wasn't a fall. It was your ascent beyond their definitions, their fears, their attempts to limit you. Their inability to comprehend your choice stems from the fact that your rise threatens everything they hold on to. What they cannot control, they try to diminish, but your strength is beyond their reach. Reclaiming your autonomy was not an act of betrayal, but the reclaiming of your identity, a refusal to conform to a version of life dictated by others. You embraced the challenge of carving a new path, knowing that the harder road was the only one that could lead to your true purpose. What they saw as your defeat was the first step in your becoming. Their labels, their judgments, their attempts to reduce you are the echoes of their own fear. Every hardship you endured has been a testament to your resilience. Every scar, a reminder of the strength you've cultivated. Your rise exposes the fragility of their illusions. They feared your transformation because it proves that power doesn't come from domination, but from rising above it. Falling wasn't your end. It was the moment you began to evolve into something they could never confine. Now your story is no longer just yours. It is a call to others. Your journey is the proof that strength is born in adversity, that the moments meant to break you can instead forge something indestructible. Speak your truth boldly, without hesitation. Let the world see how every step forward lit the way for others still trapped in shadows. Your transformation is not only your victory, it is the spark that will inspire countless others to rise, to resist, and to reclaim their own power.